Hi, I'm Emily. These 3 stories were written by people who never forgot what they went through. The front door was open when I woke up. Not wide, just barely cracked. Enough for the cold morning air to slip in. This happened a few months ago. It was a rainy Tuesday. My son left early for school like he always does, around 6:30 a.m. I was still asleep. I had worked late the night before and was completely exhausted, so I didn't hear him leave. That morning, I woke up around 8:40, dragged myself out of bed, and walked to the kitchen to make coffee. As I passed the living room, I noticed something odd. The front door was open. I called out my son's name, out of instinct, I guess. But of course, he was already at school. Everything inside looked untouched. Nothing was missing, nothing broken. Just the door. I peeked outside. No one. No signs of forced entry. I tried to shake it off. Maybe the wind caught it. Maybe he didn't close it properly, but he usually does. And the way it was open, it didn't feel like something he would miss. About an hour later, I was cooking lunch, chopping vegetables on the counter, when I heard it. The front door opened, then closed. I froze. I didn't even breathe. The sound was unmistakable. The creak, the soft thud. I picked up the biggest kitchen knife I had and slowly walked to the living room, heart pounding. Every step felt like I was walking deeper into something I didn't understand. But once again, nothing. Door shut, deadbolt locked. No one inside. I checked every room, every closet, even under the beds. I wanted to believe I was imagining it. That maybe I had left the TV on. That maybe I was just tired. But I hadn't. For the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off in the house. I started checking the locks multiple times. I kept the curtains closed, slept with a light on. I didn't realize just how right I was, until I found the outlet. I was cleaning near the dining room wall when I noticed something strange. One of the wall outlets looked crooked. It was tilted at an angle, just slightly, but enough for me to notice. And I know it was never like that. I leaned in closer, trying to see if it was loose. That's when I saw it. A dim red light was glowing from inside the socket. It wasn't a reflection. It wasn't from a device nearby. It was coming from inside the wall. I ran to the toolbox, grabbed a screwdriver, and unscrewed the outlet cover. Behind it was a tiny black camera, hidden, pointing straight into my dining room and kitchen. I staggered back and nearly dropped the screwdriver. My throat went dry. I immediately panicked. I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know where else there might be cameras. I called a friend who works in security systems, and he came over that night. He found 2 more, one hidden inside another outlet in my bedroom. That one hit me hardest. And another, tucked inside a hallway vent. I still don't know who put them there. I don't know if it was someone who lived here before, or someone who came in while the door was open that morning. What terrifies me most isn't just that I was being watched. It's that I don't know how long it had been happening, or where those recordings ended up.
Wait, who's behind you?
That's what my boyfriend asked, right before the power went out. This happened when I was 16. On a stormy Friday night. My parents were out of town visiting family, and I had the house to myself. I was on the phone with my boyfriend, curled up on the couch with a blanket, listening to the rain hammering the windows. We were just talking about nothing, weekend plans, movies, the usual. Suddenly, the call cut out. My phone buzzed once, like a warning, and then died. I remember sighing, annoyed, and saying, "Ugh, hold on," even though he couldn't hear me anymore. I didn't want the call to end like that. So I got up and grabbed my laptop from the dining table. I opened it, launched FaceTime, and called him. He picked up after a few seconds, but he wasn't smiling. Not even a little. His eyes shifted, not looking at me, but past me.
Wait, who's there with you?
He asked. I froze. What? I turned slowly. The kitchen was behind me, dark. I squinted into the shadows, trying to see what he thought he saw. "There's no one here," I said. But even I didn't sound convinced. And then, boom, power's out. Lights, Wi-Fi, gone. Everything. For a moment, I sat frozen in the pitch black, barely able to hear over the storm outside. Then I felt that creeping dread, like I wasn't actually alone. My chest tightened. My breathing turned shallow. The air felt heavy, stale, like the room itself was closing in around me. I slammed the laptop shut and stood there, heart hammering. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything except the rain. I didn't check the doors. I didn't even glance around. I ran like something was already behind me. I grabbed my keys from the hallway, stumbled to the front door in the dark, and bolted outside into the pouring rain. I didn't stop running until I got 2 blocks down to my neighbor's house, where I banged on the door until they opened it. I stayed there the whole night. When the power finally came back on almost an hour later, I checked the security camera footage from the app on my phone. At 10:54 p.m., just before I picked up the laptop to call him, there was a single frame that still haunts me. A blurry figure. Standing in the kitchen, just behind me, half hidden in the shadow of the fridge, face barely visible. No movement, no sign of entry. We never found out who it was. This happened to my brother and his wife last year. They had just had their first baby, a little girl named Lucy. She was only 6 months old. It was a Friday night, and they decided to go out for dinner after being cooped up at home for months. Nothing fancy, just a restaurant nearby. Since it would be the first time leaving Lucy with someone else, they called someone trustworthy, a babysitter recommended by a college friend. She had great references, seemed friendly, and had experience with newborns. She arrived right at 7 p.m. They explained everything: bottle, diapers, crib, and left. During dinner, my brother's wife checked her phone. The living room camera showed the babysitter sitting on the couch with Lucy in her arms. She was rocking the baby gently, humming a lullaby they couldn't quite make out. But something felt off. The babysitter was staring straight at the camera. Not like someone zoning out, but like she knew exactly where the camera was. It was like she was waiting, then she smiled. A frozen, unnatural smile, like it didn't belong there. My brother laughed it off, said it was probably just a weird coincidence. But his wife couldn't shake the feeling. Something about it felt wrong. They got home around 9 p.m. and found the babysitter outside. She was standing on the porch, holding her bag, knocking on the door. Her face was red, like she'd been crying. They froze. Through tears, she said, "The door shut behind me right after you left. I never even got to pick up the baby." My brother stared at her. "But we saw you holding her." The babysitter's eyes widened. "No, I was out here the whole time. I tried calling, but your phones must have been out of range." They ran inside. Lucy was peacefully asleep in her crib. Safe. But the air in the house felt heavy. Wrong. They opened the camera app. And that's when everything fell apart. There was nothing. No video, no recordings, no footage of the babysitter ever being inside the house. The history started at 9 p.m., showing only the front door opening as they came back. Had the footage been deleted? They weren't sure. They were just confused. They swore they saw her with Lucy in her arms. They swore she looked at the camera. They swore she smiled. But there was no proof. They ended up moving out, mostly out of fear. But to this day, neither they nor the babysitter know who or what was inside that house that night.